Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Good morning and welcome to the service. This morning we'll have a loving kindness meditation followed by a Dharma talk and question and answer, and conclude with some chanting. So, Pannaloka, will you lead the loving kindness?
Let's begin by getting into a comfortable position. Putting right hand on top of left, eyes closed. And let's begin with 3 deep breaths. Now let us generate thoughts of metta, goodwill, loving kindness, beginning with ourselves. This is a sincere and wholesome determination that we develop, beginning with ourselves, that we be happy, that we be peaceful, that we be free from suffering, that we live with heart and mind gladdened, free of greed, free of anger, free of delusion. A sincere and wholesome desire that we be unburdened, that we have the ability to look after ourselves with ease. And we extend these thoughts further to our family, to our Dharma teachers, to our teachers, to our friends. To all those that we hold close, to those that we cherish. We generate thoughts of metta, loving kindness, goodwill for them as well. That they be happy, peaceful, and free from suffering. That they live with hearts and minds unburdened. That they look after themselves with ease. And we extend these thoughts as well to our acquaintances, people that we don't know so well. May they also be happy, peaceful, free from suffering, free from harm, free from pain. May they live with hearts and minds unburdened. May they look after themselves with ease. And we extend these thoughts as well to even the people that we don't like, or the people that don't like us, the people that are hard to get along with. Even those that might call us enemy. For them too, we generate this wholesome desire for their happiness and peace. That their hearts and minds be unburdened and free. That they be free from harm. That they be happy and peaceful. That they look after themselves with ease. That they recognize the means for true happiness and have the ability to act on them. And we extend further to all beings everywhere, in all directions. The north, the south, the east, the west, above and below. To all sentient beings everywhere. May they be happy, peaceful, free from suffering, free from harm, free from pain. With hearts and minds unburdened. May all beings everywhere, may they all be peaceful. May they all be free. May they all recognize and realize the means for true happiness and have the ability to act on it. And with our hearts and minds filled with metta, with loving kindness, with goodwill for all sentient beings, we turn our attention to the breath. Be mindful of the breath coming in. Be mindful of the breath going out. Whether the breath be long or short, deep or shallow. Bring your mindfulness, your ardency, your alertness to the breath. And maintain your connection there, in this body and mind connected in breath, until you hear the bell.
Reverend Pannaloka will give the Dharma talk.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thanksgiving to everyone. And I'm also happy to share this Dhamma talk with you today. Once in a while, I give talks here, and it's a pleasure for me to share my experiences, my knowledge, my wisdom, and how I think about Buddhism and this way of life. Like this, I'm really happy to share this Dhamma talk also today. Before I begin my Dhamma talk, I would like to share some of my experiences with you, two stories, my life experiences. And yes, after narrating these two stories, my life experiences with you, I will come to my Dhamma sharing. You all know that I'm a monk from Sri Lanka, and when I was living in Sri Lanka, one day a group of devotees, Buddhists, who were organizing a trip to an ancient city in Sri Lanka, they invited me to join with them. They also asked me to join with them. And I said, okay. And they asked me whether if you have a free time, Bhante, please come with us. Then I said, okay, I will come with you. So on that day, I went there. And what I saw during the whole journey, and even when it was performing, I had a lot of questions, and I expanded my own thinking, and I shared this story in many places when I was going for Dhamma talks in Sri Lanka, and not like here. When I was in Sri Lanka, I go for a lot of Dhamma talks per day. Yeah, so this group of people, devotees, on that day they got ready and they went on a trip to that ancient city in Sri Lanka, which we call as Anuradhapura. That's the city. So why we call this city an ancient city? Because in this ancient city, you see a lot of Buddha statues, monuments, pagodas, huge buildings, ancient buildings. But some of them are collapsed. Some of these areas are still, archaeological sites. People can't build up their houses. They can start their businesses because these areas are still archaeological sites. But we also have some, some renovated, repaired, biggest colossal Buddha statues and pagodas in this ancient city. So people, devotees in Sri Lanka, they once in a while, maybe once in a couple of years, they themselves, they organize and then they visit these ancient cities. But whenever they visit these cities, these ancient cities, they prepare some kind of, special puja, some kind of special, we call it Buddha puja, offerings to the Buddha. Some kind of offerings. It could be food, it could be clothes, and some kind of gifts to the Buddha. So they take these, gifts, food to the ancient city, and they offer this food to the, statues and big monuments. and sometimes the pagodas. So this group of people also did the same thing. And when I talked to one of the devotees, she said, this is what she said with me. And before they organized, I mean, before they went on this trip to ancient city, I think before 1 week or 2 weeks, they gathered in one place, maybe especially in a temple. And they had brought some, rice, but we call it paddy, right? Paddy seeds, only the paddy seeds. Now they want to make these paddy seeds to rice. So these paddy seeds are special kind of, seeds. And they divide some seeds, maybe 10 seeds, paddy seeds to each person. This whole bowl of, paddy seeds, maybe 10 or 20 paddy seeds. So each person gets his portion. And what the person is supposed to do is also interesting. And they need to take out the, the skin. I mean, they need to peel off the paddy seeds one by one, but they have to use their nails. They should not use any kind of machine, modern technology. Instead, they should use their nails. And once after they clean it, then we have the rice. And they should cook it in a very special kind of pot. After cooking, again, when they were cooking the rice, they have to mix it with not water, the normal water. It's not good to use the normal water. It's not good. I mean, it's not good for them, right? Not for us, not for the Buddha. But yes, what they use not the water, but they use some kind of, they believe that if they can cook that rice, special rice, this food to the Buddha, if they can mix it with some coconut water, not the water, but the coconut water, some kind of, we have in Sri Lanka, we call it king coconut water. It's so delicious, so tasty. It's so sweet. I mean, the coconut water. So they mix the rice with coconut water and then they cook it. Once after they cook it, they mix some milk, and finally it becomes a kind of, milk rice, so delicious, so sweet. And now it's ready for the Buddha. Early morning, this group of people, they got up and they got ready, and they took this special kind of, puja. We call it Buddha puja, a kind of sacred offering to the Buddha. And now they are taking that, special kind of offering to the Buddha, and they travel. I also had to travel with them by the bus. It's some kind of, a way, and it's a long way. It takes at least, I think, 2 hours, 2 to 3 hours to reach that ancient city. And we went there, and what they did, they offered it to one special, a colossal, a big monument. We call it pagoda. If you can Google search it, we call it stupa, S-T-U-P-A, stupa. It's a big, monument, a big stupa. And in that stupa, we Buddhists, Sri Lankan Buddhists, we believe that Buddha's remains are enshrined. So it's there, and that's why they offer it to that, those kind of, big statues and stupas. And they offered it. They went on chanting some special kind of, verses, Pali verses, stanzas, and then they finish it. And after a couple of hours spending in this, ancient city, they came back. Now, that's what my experience I had with them on that day. So after this incident, every time when I went for Dhamma talks, I shared this story with the other Sri Lankan devotees also. Why? My question is, okay, I'll come to my question later. And I also had a same experience here in America. I can exactly remember I think it was in 2019. I got an invitation from one of my monks from the university, and he asked me to join with him to go to San Francisco. So I went to San Francisco, and we stayed in temple, and it was a 3-day trip. And mostly we visited temples, Buddhist temples, monasteries, forest dwelling monks like this. We visited these areas. And on that day, again, my experience was also interesting. Early in the morning, we went to a Chinese temple and we stayed there that night. And we were supposed to get up early in the morning, like at 4 o'clock. Before that, 3:30. And we should be somewhere in a big hall to participate in a big, mass offering, a kind of chanting. And they asked me to join that chanting at 4 o'clock, and that chanting went on, I think, more than 2 hours. And what you were supposed to do, you have to chant a lot of, stanzas, and then you have to bow down. Again, you have to stand up. I think in 2 or 3 minutes, again, you have to bow down and you have to kneel on the ground, and then you have to pay respect to the Buddha and to some, some, what do we call as some bodhisattvas. Again, they get up and again they go on like this, they chant, and this went on more than 2 hours. I participated in that. I didn't understand the language. They used some kind of, I think ancient Chinese language. I don't know. That's what I saw on the chanting books. They followed it, and Buddhist, the monks, nuns, devotees, there were a lot of people there. But it's with much difficulty, I continued chanting it because I didn't understand the language, and it was difficult for me because I'm a tall guy, and whenever I bow down and kneel down, and when you stretch your body on the ground, it's not easy for me. But I had to do it for 2 hours because if I didn't follow them, man, I thought that they will not be happy with me. And I thought that that's the end of the program. But my assumption was not correct. I was supposed to continue again another ritual like this, once after the other one. And at around, I think after this mass puja or mass offering, chanting, my friend monk, he asked me to, Venerable, can you please join with us on a parade, on a walking? But this might be difficult for you, but if you try it, good for you. It's good for you. Then I asked, well, what is that? You have to kneel on the road, on the street, and then you have to kneeling. You have to kneeling towards some point, and it's like some, like 2 or 3 blocks on the tar road, on the tar street. It's not easy. Just naked knees. You have to use the naked knees. No, you have nothing to cover this one. So it was not easy for me. Then I told my, friend monk, thank you, Venerable, and let me stay here in my room. You go there. I didn't go there. It's not because of I had the disrespect for that. Even I didn't want to go there, and it doesn't make any sense to me. It didn't. I know that it doesn't make any sense to my practice. I just allowed them to do that. I never said my thoughts. Shared my thoughts with them. That's it. And this is the story. And after this one, we were supposed to go for the lunch. But before the lunch, again, we were supposed to practice some kind of chanting for 2 hours from 10 to 12. I had to go there. I mean, I had to participate in that one. I couldn't skip it. Yes, I went there, and again, you have to do the same thing. Like you have to stand up, you have to kneel down, and then you have to stretch your whole body like this. It's a kind of suffering for me. It was a kind of severe austerity for me, but I did it for 2 hours. My whole body was sweating. I didn't understand their chanting language. This is my story, and after this incident, I thought that I will never ever participate this kind of ceremonies, and it's not good for my health. It's not good for me, and that's it. Why I share these two stories with you today is we have only a couple of minutes to finish this Dhamma talk. Of course, I think I have 10 to 15 more minutes to share my Dhamma talk with you. And I wanted to share these two stories with you. It's because the last time when I was giving the Dhamma talk, I think I talked about the Ulambana ceremony. And towards the end of the Ulambana, my Dhamma talk, one congregation member, I can't remember, one person from the Zoom, she asked me whether I can answer her question. I just answered it, but we didn't have that much time to give a full answer. So she asked the question like, why do we offer apples? Why do we offer oranges here in front of the Buddha statue? Because I was talking about the Ulambana ceremony, and her question was, why do we offer fruits, apples, oranges here in the center in front of this Buddha statue? All right, now I'm going to give the answer for that question. Let me tell you that Buddha never ever expected any kind of respect. I mean, some kind of respect after his death, like we should offer food, so many items in front of the Buddha's statue. Buddha always encouraged his disciples to practice his path, his teaching, instead of going after a big rituals, chanting ceremonies, and mass offerings. Buddha always encouraged his disciples, people to follow his teaching. That's it. So what we are supposed to do as Buddhist or intelligent people, we need to practice his teaching instead of going after these big rituals and big ceremonies and chantings. But it doesn't mean that we should not do chanting. We can do the chantings. Before I started this Dhamma talk, Nam was beating the bell, a drum there. And again, once after we are going to finish this service, one of our monks, he's going to, ring the bell and so many things, and we are going to do chantings. We can do that, but only for a couple of minutes. It depends. This can be seen in any culture. It doesn't matter here or in Sri Lanka or in any other country. We do have this. In any culture, in any religion, we do have these kind of chantings. It is not specific to only one culture or one religion. Every religion in the whole world, they have some kind of chantings. It's up to them. But the Buddha's message is we have to do it in a very simple way. Why? Because people offer a lot of offerings to the Buddha statues, sometimes to their religious leaders, their statues, and they do these things in a big scale. But when we think about the true path of Buddhism, if we come to Buddhism, Buddha's teaching, if we go on performing this kind of chanting, so these kind of doing these kind of big ceremonies for days and days, it doesn't give that much meaning or that much, how do I say, it doesn't bring that much results to our path, our practice. So in one of the sutras in the Tripitaka, we call it the Mahaparinibbana Sutra. It is a discourse about the Buddha's demise, and you can Google search it. And in this sutra, in one of the places, Buddha gives some advice to his monks and lay devotees, lay people, and for everyone. And you know, the attendant monk Ananda, he asked the Buddha one question like, Katang mayang bante tathagatasa sarire patipajjamati. Bante, how are we supposed to do? How are we supposed to respect your body once after your death? How do we respect you? How do we respect your body? How do we respect your remains after your death? That's what the attendant monk Ananda asked from the Buddha. You know the answer what the Buddha gave? Do you think like Buddha was giving like, oh yeah, you have to do a lot of things, and you know, I'm the leader, I'm the teacher of this doctrine, so you have to perform a lot of things, you have to do a lot of ceremonies, you have to respect? No, that was not the answer. The answer what the Buddha gave is very interesting. And he said that Avya vata tumhe ananda hota tatagatas sarira puja. Even though it's in Pali language, I will translate it for you. Avya vata hota, it is none of your business, Ananda. You have got nothing to do with my remains. Let it go. And you should not go on respecting all my remains, and it is none of your business. Then what is your business? What are you supposed to do after my demise, after my death? You monks, you as monks and nuns, sadatte gatata. Here the word sadatta is very important in the Pali language. Sadatta is a synonym for, we can call it meditation. We call bhavana, right? We have heard some kind of words like bhavana. Bhavana means the meditation. And we have so many words. And sadatta here, sadatta means it could be the meditation. And here it means the path, the true path leading to the cessation of suffering. Ananda, you should try to practice this path, this true path, instead of respecting my remains. Buddha could have encouraged the Ananda and his disciples to do that. But if a person goes on, respecting the remains of the Buddha for eons of years, it doesn't make any sense to our path. So Buddha in one place, he said, Atta yattano nato kohinato parosya. That means one is one's own refuge, right? One is one's own refuge. Who else could be the refuge? So what does it mean? It means that we should trust on ourselves. I am the master of my soul. You are the captain of your soul. We have to trust our energy. We have to trust our intelligence level. We have to trust our wisdom. And we have to trust our capacities, our skills. So many things to learn like this. So Buddha said that you should not expect any external refuge or external kind of assurance, insurance from anywhere or any person. That's what the Buddha says even in the Satipatthana Sutta. Satipatthana Sutta is a very famous sutta, and there the Buddha asks, like, if you're going to practice the 4 kinds of mindfulness, he says that Atta Deepa Bhikkave Viharata. You should, what do we call it, as you should try to live, and you should try your path, your own skills. Attadipa bhikkave virata. Be refuge to yourself. Attasarana, because you have your own insurance, your own assurance, your own safety. Don't expect any safety from the external world or from anyone. It is impossible. That's what Buddha says even in the Satipatthana Sutta. So, so in that Mahaparinibbana Sutta, where I quoted like, what the Ananda asked, like a question like, how do the monks should respect? How should the monks should respect the Buddha's remains? And he gave the answer like, it is none of your business. Try to practice meditation. Try to practice my true path. So many things to learn. But the lay devotees, they will respect me. They will do the offerings to me. But these kind of offerings are also pretty simple. You can use some kind of, candle. It is mentioned in the sutra. You can use some kind of, what do we call? Yes, incense. And some kind of candle. And some kind of powder, like, some fragrant powders to respect the Buddha. And again, you can use some kind of flowers. Throughout the whole world, people used, different kind of, bouquets, flowers to respect their religious leaders, their family members. Even to the Buddha, you can use that. But here in the Sendo, sometimes we see apples and oranges. It's okay. We can use apples, we can use oranges, but it is simple. See the simplicity here. We don't see a huge, just like mountains of apples here. We just see a couple of apples. And it is the Nam who always clean this area, and he's the one who is always doing this. And when we see the apples and oranges, it's a kind of, it's a refreshing feeling. We get the feeling like some kind of, refreshing feeling. And again, it is to symbolize. It is not in the Sendo here in IBMC. When we go to some Vietnamese temple, we see a lot of apples, oranges, fruits offered to the, Buddha statue. But when we see it, we get the feeling like some kind of, what do we call, some prosperity, right? Prosperity. It is to symbolize the prosperity, but we should not waste food. But this happens in many cultures, in many religions. People offer some kind of foods to their religious leaders, some statues. This happens mostly in Sri Lanka. And this happens mostly even in other countries also. I don't like to mention, but you might have seen. No one, Buddha never encouraged food wasting. We should not waste food. People are suffering throughout the whole world. They have nothing to eat. Yes, but I have seen that as a Buddhist monk, that's my responsibility. Maybe people don't like it. When I'm preaching like this, they don't like. Sometimes when I go for Dhamma talks in Sri Lanka, I was in Sri Lanka 2021, just one year ago. And when I was going for Dhamma talks, I always, whenever the time is available for me, and whenever I feel like I should share this information with the people, sometimes I show them, this is not the true path. You can go on chanting, but there should be a limit. No need of going on chanting for hours and hours in a foreign language like Pali, because in Sri Lanka, we do use the Pali language only for chanting, but ordinary people, they can understand even a word. Mostly, they can understand. There are only very few people. You have to study the Pali language to understand the chanting. But you can use some, little bit of chanting. But if you go on chanting for hours, it doesn't make any sense. I have experiences. I'm a Buddhist monk, and I have been to many places when I was in Sri Lanka for, whole night chanting. Throughout the whole night, you go on chanting some discourses from the Buddha's teaching, using the original language Pali. We go on chanting these things to the ordinary people. It is the ordinary people who organize these kind of ceremonies. Whole night you go on chanting, but people cannot understand. Sometimes if we use a lot of sutras, we use a lot of discourses in this Pali chanting. Just take, for instance, the loving kindness discourse, the Karaniya Metta Sutta. In the Karaniya Metta Sutta, there are a lot of things to study. But if I ask a question like, did you understand the sutra? Definitely my dear Sri Lankan dear, they will say like, no, Bante, it doesn't make any sense to me. I can't understand. What did you learn when you hear this sutta, when you listen to this sutta? No any understanding, because I can understand the Pali language. So what is the use of, if we go on chanting these things for hours and hours, we should, as monks, we should encourage the devotees, even, it doesn't matter devotees, maybe the other people from other cultures, other religions also, to practice the true teaching, true path of the Buddha. If he or she is interested in learning the true path, true words of the Buddha. And when I was sometimes in Sri Lanka, when I was sharing this information, when I say that, you just think about the first story I shared with you. Those group of people, devotees, they use their nails. Why do they use their fingers, their nails? They have the machines today. They can use the modern technology to peel off the paddy seeds. Why do they use their nails? And when they do, when they go like this, sometimes their nails can be damaged, and their fingers can be also damaged, and it's not good. But that's why it's because of the respect, some kind of blind respect they have for the Buddha. They go on like this, and we should not be. People should not be like a line of blind men. The first one does not see, the middle one does not see, and the last one also does not see. No one sees. So we have to talk always. We have to discuss the true teaching, original teachings of the Buddha. At the same time, we have to perform this kind of ceremonies, and we can offer some kind of items, food to the Buddha, but in a very simple way. There should be always the simplicity. But you just imagine if everyone is going to bring food and a lot of items to a Buddha statue, like, and after that, if they are not going to touch it, consume it, to eat it, it's a waste. It happens mostly in many countries. Even in Sri Lanka, I have seen this. Because in Sri Lanka, once after you offer some kind of item, it could be fruit, it could be some kind of food to the Buddha. In Sri Lankan culture, they believe that it's a sin to eat it. You should not touch it. Once after you offer it to the Buddha, it's for the Buddha, and no one should touch it. If you touch it, it's a sin, and you have to pay for it. Who said that? Who told like that? Did the Buddha say something like that in his teaching? No. Somebody created that, that belief, and everyone is going after it. Many people are going after it. So as Buddhist monks and learners and devotees and those who are practicing the Buddha's teaching, you should learn the true teaching, true doctrine of the Buddha. And sometimes when I share this information with Sri Lankan devotees, when I go for Dhamma talks in Sri Lanka, they say that, oh, this monk, he stayed in America, now he has been Americanized. You are an American monk. You are not respecting our culture. Yeah, there are some people like that. Then I again and again I talk to them. No, you should learn the essence. Of course, the meaning of the Buddha's teaching, and you should not go after something just as a group of blind men. And that's what I have to share with you. I think time is up to finish my Dhamma talk. And yeah, like this, so many things. And Buddha says in the Dhammapada also, people like to offer these kind of items, food, and so many things. And people organize this kind of big ceremonies, rituals. It's because of they have some kind of respect. It's okay. Some kind of belief, that's also okay. But we should not go to the extremes. And we should always try to learn the true message of the religious leader. It doesn't matter. It could be the Buddha, it could be the Jesus Christ, it could be the Muhammad, and whoever it is. We should try to learn the true essence of the religious teacher. So when it comes to the Buddha's teaching, we should not go after these cultures blindly. We should not go after these huge ceremonies blindly. But we can use, again and again, I want to say, we can use some kind of chanting only for a couple of minutes, just to pacify our thoughts, just to experience the peace for a couple of minutes. And but we should take more and more time to practice meditation, to talk about Buddha's teaching like this, maybe the Dhamma talks, maybe the Sunday service, like this. But there should be a limit. Every time there should be a limit when we are doing some kind of offerings, like food items to the Buddha, and that's it. And Buddha says, what I wanted to share with you is, in the Dhammapada there is a specific stanza. In that stanza it says, like, people go after people try to visit ancient cities. Sometimes they go to huge temples and churches, right? And some kind of, even in Sri Lanka, it could be the pagodas, stupas, and they respect their, they do respect these statues. Sometimes it's because of, mostly, not sometimes, mostly it's because of many people, they have some kind of fear. Buddha says, Bahunge saranang yanti pabbatani vananicha. People seek refuge from these statues, sometimes from huge trees, big rocks. It's because there is some kind of curiosity. They don't understand it. And pabbatani vananicha arama rukkacha chaityani. Arama means a big, maybe big jungles. Rukka means big, trees. Chaityani, it could be the stupas. Manusa means human beings. It's because bhaya tajita, bhaya means the fear. Tajita, you have some kind of curiosity, fear, and that's why you go after these things. Buddha says that, Netanko saranang keman, this is not the sublime refuge. This is not the noble refuge. This is not a noble safety. You have many more things in my teaching. Go after these things. Try to learn these things. Discuss these things one by one. At least try to practice one item of my teaching. And that's what the Buddha expected from his followers, from the people. And but still, I need to say that now you can offer apples and oranges here in the center, because Buddha never discouraged. Buddha never discouraged it. We can offer, but there should be a simplicity. We should not do it in great amount, great scales. It's because of the belief, respect we have towards the Buddha. We do it. And I answered this question because last time when I was giving the Dhamma talk about the Ulambana ceremony, somebody asked me, like, why do we see the apples, oranges here? We can, because once we see these, we get the feeling like some kind of prosperity. And but there is the simplicity. Finally, I want to say that again and again. I want to say, last time also I shared this with you. Philosophy only does not exist in this world. If we go after the Buddha's teaching, if we try to practice the Buddha's teaching, only the philosophy does not exist. There should be some kind of rituals, some cultural events. That's how the philosophy goes with, right? And that's it. I think the time is up. And I'm happy to share this Dhamma talk with you. Maybe you have a lot of questions, a lot of thoughts. I never ever wanted to discourage any person, but we need to speak. We need to talk about the true essence of the Buddha's teaching. and what the Buddha also expected from his followers. Meanwhile, we can practice some kind of chanting with a very great simplicity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pannaloka. Are there any questions? Yes?
Thank you for the Davos talk. You mentioned that in Sri Lanka that you would never touch the food offering. It's a big no-no there. I'm curious, like, is there like a different approach that you would take here? Like, does the Sangha eat the offerings after a certain amount of time? Like, what's most appropriate for that type of thing?
Right. Yeah, we always in Sri Lanka, Buddhist monks, especially knowledgeable, educated monks, they speak about this, and then they educate the people. But sometimes it is not easy to stop it at once. It takes time. It takes time. And yes, people, devotees, Sri Lankan devotees, once after they offer some kind of items like that, I told about this. And they are not ready to, and they feel some kind of fear. They have some kind of fear of consuming it again, because it's for the Buddha, it's for their religious master, and they feel like if they consume it, they will have to suffer. No, because somebody might have created that misconception. Somebody might have given some talks leading to that kind of misconception among the people. But as knowledgeable people, we should always address these topics. I mean, we should talk to these things. So now in Sri Lanka, a lot of monks, they are talking like that, but there are some people, we can stop them. And but whenever we see it, it brings some kind of happiness for them, but we have to talk about the original message of the Buddha. Yeah.
To answer your immediate concern, though, yeah, we eat them. After a few weeks, Mom will clear the old ones out and hand them to basically whoever will take them, and then put new ones up there. So I've had the most desiccated, mummified oranges you wouldn't believe, and eat them gratefully. But yeah, we don't let the food go to waste.
Yes. Yeah, thank you, Stephen. And I also eat some apples and oranges from here. Nothing has happened to me. I'm still okay. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, but I think it's the best. What is most important is to consume it without wasting the food. So if sometimes we can forget this place, and because we do have a lot of other ways to live. I mean, food, but sometimes if you can't use it, if you can use it, consume it, we can use it as some kind of compost, you said. But first we should try to we should not let it go away, I mean waste. Yeah. Yes, Reverend Shraddha.
Thank you for your point.
Thank you.
Also, I wanted to talk about the chanting and doing power. I find it very beautiful. I think the sound is very beautiful. And I think in a way that's the attractive part of it. You can almost go into a meditation and you're surrounded by such a beautiful sound. So I think it's this, as much as the sound, as much as the meaning almost doesn't matter, because somehow you feel that peace in you.
Yes.
It's very beautiful, and the monks are very beautiful. So
Yes.
we love it.
Yes, thank you for sharing that information with us, your thoughts, your comments, Reverend Sada. What you said is also very important. Yes, once we listen to some kind of chanting, it brings some kind of peace in your mind. Yes, it is true. We accept it. Buddha never rejects it. Buddha never discourages it. Even we are not discouraging it. Yes, but I mean, if we can use some kind of chanting only for a couple of minutes, maybe only for a short period of time, that's okay. But if you go on chanting, you might not have seen this, but in some other countries, in other cultures, there is this, and we have this. Yeah. So, what Reverend Sada,
Revelation.
yes, what Reverend Sada shared with us is also meaningful, and thank you so much for your comment, Reverend Sada.
Okay.
Yes.
I think it's, no, it's okay. No, I think it's also important, especially for those who enjoy chanting, who view it as a big part of their practice, to start learning what the chanting actually means, like to learn the words, to not let it be this cryptic mystical language that you don't know, you don't even know what you're saying, like sometimes that can on its own clear up a lot of confusion. Like you have some Buddhists today, especially in the United States, but I've also met other ones who think that Buddhism is not about being happy, about learning how to live a good life and be happy, right? And then you start learning the chanting for the Brahma Viharas for loving kindness, and the very first thing you say is Ahang Sukhito Homi, may I be happy, and that's just from learning a little bit of Pali right there. So I think there's a lot of knowledge that gets lost in people not learning what it is they're even saying in the chants. So that would be one thing that I would recommend is, if there is a particular chant that you like, learn the translation, know what you're saying, because there's probably a lesson in there that might have been lost in translation, or lack of translation rather.
Yes, thank you so much, Subodh, for sharing that information also with us. Yes, if you have a free time, you can learn some Pali words, some Pali, terms, but you are not supposed to master the whole language. It's something impossible. But I prefer if we can use the translations, if we can. Yes, I like that. Especially if we can translate all these sutras also, Buddha's teaching, and if we can discuss this thing in English. But chantings also do matter, only for a short period of time. That's it. And I think time has passed, and we should finish the Sunday service. Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Pannaloka. And now we'll have some chanting. Nam, can you do the Mokajo? We'll do pages 4 and page 10. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Sentient beings are numberless. I vow to save them all. Deluding passions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them all. Dharma gates are limitless. I vow to study them all. Buddha's way is supreme. I vow to attain it. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and the sick find health relief. May he come now to
Yai Dang Du Shung Shang Ye Yai Gong Dai Pa Dai When Di Du Kong Duk Ho Kap O Ya De Yai Dang Du Shung Shang Ye Yai Gong Dai Pa Dai When Di Du Kong Duk Ho Kap O Ya De Yai Dang Du Shung Shang Ye Yai Gong Dai Pa Om Mani Padme Hum.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes the service. Next Sunday is the first Sunday of the month, so there will be a meditation session before the service from 9:30 and 10 to 10:30 with Saboda. At 11 o'clock, the service will be here. Reverend Shanti will be back, hopefully. He's indisposed this morning. And the Dharma talk will be given by Reverend Kusama. So again, thank you. The temple is open. We'd love to see you. Are there any other announcements? All right, thank you. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Thank you.